ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from everywhere around town,
to the very last episode of Unlocking. Yeah. I want to talk to you about this, Nato. This seems like a good time. This might be the last one.
why is that?
A lot of reasons. It's not just the podcast, man. I've rearranged my priorities. I think I'm looking at things differently, and I've come to the conclusion that I want to spend more time with the family and individual members of the family, like more time with Jake especially. Right now, I'm not the guy that picks him up from school every day. I'm home working, while the nanny does, like Monday through Thursday, and that he hates it. And he wants me, when he comes home, he wants me to pick him up, and I realize that's what I want too. So I want to spend time with him. So I'm letting go of the nanny, and yeah, man, I'm gonna spend.
After how many years?
Maybe a year and a half. I've been very lucky. I mean, that helped out a lot with me being able to travel and stuff, and all that, and do more work. But now that I'm coming to the close of Unlocking, and I'm making better use of my time, I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. Writing doesn't matter. Nothing really matters. All that matters is whatever time we have. Like if we're enjoying that time. And right now I want to enjoy it with my family, so that's first. I'll still make time for myself with the writing and with training. That's another cool thing. Like I just started training with, last night I taught my first class of jiu-jitsu with, for Jen and some of the people at 10th Planet Youth Center. And we're going to start doing that. Anthony and I are going to start doing that Tuesdays and Thursday nights. We talked about it before, but just never did it. But I did it last night, and Jen really enjoyed it, and it was a cool time that we had together. So that's something we can enjoy. So like things like that, like that's what I want to fill my days with. I'm still going to do yoga, but I'll do it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
And since you and Jen are so involved, why not come out with a certain nights with couple jiu-jitsu?
Oh, right.
Jiu-jitsu for couples.
Yeah.
I mean, I would do it. Are you
Yeah.
kidding? I would drive because I'm going carpool with my girl
Yeah.
all the way down.
Well, bitch, show up Tuesday and Thursday.
Well,
7:45.
well, I'm trying to tell you, do the class, make the class up, and I'll do it. I'll bring my girl.
Okay. All right. We'll call it.
Couples jiu-jitsu.
We'll call it 10th Planet warm-ups, and couples may attend if they like.
Well, I'm trying to say partner up. That's why. If you're
No,
gonna
I
try
think
to
I think that is awesome, and we do have couples that do that. And that's one of the best things about this place is I've seen so many moms. I think the mom of every girl started training, and these are women that you would not expect. That's what happened with Jen. They'd all been watching their daughters train, seeing what it was doing for their kids, and then they decided they wanted it for themselves. They began training. Some of them have husbands that also train, so that's what we get a lot of at the gym, and you see all over, and it's pretty cool. So, and that was cool that Jen and I now have that, like, because of the arrangement with the kids, one of us had to be home. It was hard for us to both be there at the gym, so I hadn't even been able to watch her train. So last night I was able to watch her train and to help her a little bit, and she helped me.
The cool thing is you guys have the family all involved in it. So
Yeah.
Jake, Olivia, and Jen, you all guys can just get together. Let's go.
Yeah.
Your own babysitting place at the same time.
And what's cool with it too, the message I'm trying to impart to all of them is, I was like, you stop this whenever you want. Like I tell Olivia, it's all about finding out what you like to do and doing it. Like right now, she enjoys jiu-jitsu. It's like go forward and train. If you as much as you want to, compete if you want to, but if you don't, like have fun with it. Have fun with whatever you're doing. I said that's how I am. I'll go from being heavy into wanting to do a lot of yoga and not even caring about jits, and now I'm going back the other way. So it's just, whatever. If you enjoy something, do it. So, but that's kind of what I'm doing with my time, man. Instead of writing some nights, I'll take off early and I'll just start playing guitar. Like I did that to unwind last night.
Did you try with the headphones on and all?
Yeah. No, since you told me that, I've done it. It's been way better.
And more into your own world, and it's not like
you're
judging yourself now, nobody else.
Yeah, so I'm still awful, of course, but I'm slowly getting better. I'm starting to enjoy it. And again, like, what does it matter how good I am at it if I'm enjoying it? That's what I'm realizing, and that's why I was thinking about, like, well, why am I doing the podcast? Like, if I'm doing it for the wrong reasons, then I should just stop it, because whatever time it's taken, then is it worth it? And because the other thing is I'm making a huge break from social media. Like I don't want to be part of that world, dude. I don't want to be. I don't want to be adding to it. Like I know, like on the business end, I should, and it makes sense. It's like why did I spend money to, and time to develop a following, however size it is. Why did I do that if right now I just want to never post anything again? That doesn't make sense. And I've enjoyed some of the positive stuff on it, but right now I was like, no, I just want to shut everything down. Just focus on my family, focus on things I want to do, my writing, just be productive, and just not even have that, I don't know,
But it,
electronic world interfere.
but it's okay to shut it down for a little bit. It's okay to have that break for a while to disconnect, because if you can't disconnect, you're never going to have that break for yourself. Excuse me. Or for anything that would benefit for you. And I get it. You're missing out on your son's life, and it feels that way because someone else is taking care of your little one. It's like almost not having a kid in a sense. So for you to be back in his life is a good feeling for you, which makes sense, 100%.
Yeah.
And to finish and diminish this it's okay too. But the cool thing is that you already got your feet wet, and if you do choose to come back and make your podcast up again with Unlocking after the book comes out, and that takes off in another path. Jake's a little older, Olivia's a little older, then hey, you got time, dude. You're young.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, and I think the big another part of the I realized big picture. I was thinking before I needed social media to make a name for myself and all this and that. I was like, no, like it would definitely help. I mean, but I was like, that's not my goal. I don't know, and I realized I don't need it. And I think I had mentioned it, but an indie producer had approached the Horror Writers Association for looking for screenplays that could be made into TV or movies. And so I submitted my thing. They were interested. It passed like 2 levels, and so the guy said he wants to pitch it at this big thing. So he wants, and I mentioned Brightside as well, and he really liked Brightside. He thought the Brightside idea is really good. So I've been working on that. I just sent him that right now, and so
I told you it's gonna get picked up.
Yeah, and it feels like everything's happening at the right time. I was like that, and that had nothing to do with. Well, the only way social media helped me with that is I happen to see that announcement for this guy on social media on Facebook through the Horror Writers group. So it served its purpose.
But it's good that the fact that you got it out of the way. Look, if you were huge and let's say you just blew up and Mark Tullis and you had all this media. Imagine shutting it down then. That's the wrong time to do it.
Yeah.
But if you do it now and you develop your happy medium where you want to go and where you don't want to go, then you could tell, hey, well, I don't want to be there. I don't have to be there. I know what I'm worth. I know what I need to do, and bottom line, that's
dude.
it.
Well, the other big thing too, man. I realize I don't want to be famous. Like I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be that. I don't need that. I think I thought that, and like the ego comes up, and you want that. I think that's definitely a temptation. But I don't want that. I wouldn't want to be famous. I want to be recognized all the time. I wouldn't want my kids being looked at as like my kids. I don't know. And I think that's. I think that's what. Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure to step in your feet and follow your shadows.
Yeah, but I just realized I wouldn't care for that. I wouldn't want the spotlight on me. I don't want people examining my life and whatever. Like if I could be a positive voice, then that's cool, and maybe I have some positive stuff to say, or who knows, or some interesting stories to tell. But yeah, man. So I don't want to. Not looking to be famous. So whatever. I'll keep my life to myself. I'll put whatever I'm dealing with, I can deal with in my writing. But I probably will keep this up because if I'm having fun with it, like this is cool. We didn't. This is the first time we're talking about this. And I think that's what I wanted the podcast to be, just like interesting conversation. So if I could do that and we can record it real quickly, I'm not even gonna mess with video, then that's dope. I'll keep them coming. Another reason I want to keep going too is T. Quillen's the Twisted Reunion. The entire audiobook is now out. Just came out I think yesterday. So that's dope because it contains the original 12 stories he did in Each Dawn I Die, but then he redid the 11 or so that were in Everyone's Lethal, and then the ones that were in Repackaged Present. So it was cool hearing his take on them. Like it was definitely well worth it. Like he does a good job. I love what he does with all the characters. I didn't think about what today's story will be, but I don't know. We'll figure that out.
So it's really not going to be the end of you.
Maybe it is. I don't know.
What about if you just start backing off a little bit?
Well, that was the thing too. I don't know how often Anthony and I are going to be hanging out because of the shift in my hours. Because I'm going to have a much smaller time to either do yoga or jits or something in the morning before I pick up Jake from school. Because he's only at school like for 3 hours. So I was telling him like, man, I don't know how often we're going to be doing this, and I don't know how often we'll be able to get together for a podcast and make that work out. But the very cool conversation we had this morning before a session was about the class I did last night. I asked him, our original plan was that we would either have someone else come in and teach us, or we would do our own class where Tuesday and Thursday nights we would be doing a little bit of yoga. But this now it's just going to be like 5 minutes just to really get a good, hard, aggressive warm up. And then we would go over the 10th Planet warm ups. And that's part of like when you go down to headquarters, if you want to do the advanced class, you need to know the warm ups. And it's a good idea overall, like the way Eddie designed it and broke it into these movements that are he's always updating. It makes so much sense. And my wife loved going over that last night. And Eddie, like he says, you know, you should do it if you're in the system. Like that's what you guys should be practicing. That's how you should be starting your class. And so that we're going to start doing that. So Anthony and I are going to be doing that. We're both committing to Tuesdays and Thursdays, so that'll be fun, and it's going to improve my jiu so much. Just trying to teach a little bit to white belts, what little I know, but learning at the same time. Like I'm doing this class for me. And that's what Anthony's doing. He's like, so that way we're going to get more bodies, we're going to get harder rolls, and plus we'll be.
So
we'll
what
be
days are you doing again?
Tuesday and Thursday nights. So yeah, and I'm running into more and more people in town that are interested in the place, but they had no idea that there were adult classes. So John already has several adult classes, and the women's only class is really cool too. But this would just be looking at just the warm ups and some leg stuff and just some fun rolls at the end. So it should be cool.
Nice.
It's what I had wanted. I just didn't know I was gonna be able to make it out those nights. So yeah, man. But that's it. Just trying to enjoy the family and life a little bit more.
As you should. Life goes by really quick. I mean,
Yeah.
look, we're already November, dude. I just looked, what we got 53 more days, or I don't know, till Christmas.
Yeah, no, I've been realizing, man, it flies, and then also, dude, it could be over just like that. So
Yeah.
like, why am I gonna stress over what I'm working on right now? Like, why am I gonna stress about how unlocking will do? Why am I gonna stress about this book that I haven't done yet, or that short story that I might do? Like, nah, I gotta let all that shit go, because who knows? Like, I could die today.
Well, that's what makes a
so,
writer a writer. Makes you
yeah.
who you are by doing what you're doing.
Yeah, but I've been having fun, man. I've been writing more short stories. I got a really cool one, and dude, I have to put limits on myself too. So this is something I just did because I know I'm kind of procrastinating on unlocking because I need to write the final chapter and then send it off to people, and I'm still not doing that. Instead, I've been working on these short stories that are coming to me. I've been letting them flow. And the other day, Livy picked one up and she's reading. She's like, "Why are you writing short stories?" Like, she just didn't get why I would be doing short stories when I could be working on something else. And I tried explaining it, but then I realized, like, yeah, a big part of it is I'm procrastinating. But it also, man, it's also doing what I enjoy, though. I spent, let's say, 2 weeks of time, and I got like 3 solid stories out of it. But I did just put the brakes on. I finished one. I sent to my editor. There's another one I was very excited about, this MMA one, which is going to be awesome. But I told myself I'm not going to do that until I do unlocking. So until I write the final chapter of unlocking, that's when my reward will be to go do that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, setting yourself and setting your goals, that's your next things, but I get it.
Yeah, no, I have to limit myself, man, because otherwise I got so many different things that will overwhelm me. So right now,
You're an artist. I mean, you create and keep creating.
Yeah.
You're going to.
But I'm excited about this is with the Try Not to Dies, the way I'm setting it up. I'm just going for it, man. I'm inviting people that I know, that I like, or whatever, that I think will be a good fit to write with me, and just giving them a lot of creative reign, and we're going to come up with some cool stuff. So I'm allowing myself right now to work on unlocking. I'm guiding these other projects, Trying to Die on Brightside. I just met with Donna Donna Gonzalez on that last week. I love her ideas on the character, and because I'm doing it with her, it's going to be such a better book.
Nice.
And then that's going to add to the sequel, which I'm also going to be working on. So it's going to improve that too. So it was just awesome. Even though she hadn't written before, she's already bringing such a cool twist to this book. And because I don't have an ego on that. Like, I'm happy to say, like, no, this is, I'm having her create this thing. Like, she's deciding who this character is. We're agreeing on it, and then we go for it. So it's cool to do that. And then I'm also did the same thing with Try Not to Die at Death Fest with Glenn. So that's going to be really cool. So yeah, both of those are in motion, man. So those won't take up much of my time now. I was like, okay, I sent off all my ideas. I finalized my thoughts on stuff. Now they're going to develop it. They'll give it back to me. I spend a little bit of time. I develop it. I give it back. It's back and forth like that. So it's minimal for me, so I can do several of these projects. Like even my nephew, he wants to do Try Not to Die in the Dark Ages. I was like, oh, that's brilliant. I would love to do that. And when I was his age, I mean, he reads so much. He probably knows way more about that than I do right now. So I was like, yeah, I was like, with his ideas and with him helping me develop these characters and everything else, like, we could come up with a cool book, and it won't take up that much of my time. So if that's the kind of stuff I'm doing, and I was like, and how cool is that for a young kid to have a book?
Oh, of course, of course.
Right? So even if it's not making him a ton of money, but no, man, I have a feeling things are going to be good. I think the Brightside world is going to be awesome. I think the Try Not to Die in Brightside is going to be cool. And I'm starting to develop more ideas on the sequel. And I'm digging that too, man. It's going to be pretty dark.
So I'm going to cut you off. What happens if you make it big? What happens if you do have a huge success in all your books? Because I think, and I've always said it, you are. But since you don't want it, it's gonna happen. Whether you do, you don't, regardless of the fact.
Right.
But what I want to know is, are you gonna embrace it? Or are you gonna push it off? Because of
so I wouldn't. I don't want to embrace it as far as like being any kind of celebrity. Like, I wouldn't want to be a celebrity, but I would want to. Yeah, dude, I want to sell a lot of stuff. I want to become. I want to.
So I would
love to.
Awards.
I would. Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah. No,
okay.
100%. Like that wouldn't be.
I'm trying to figure out what you're saying.
I'm not trying to totally disappear from the
I'm
planet.
a
Like,
hermit.
no.
Fuck you all.
No. I think I just went overboard before with all the sharing. I was like, no. I don't want to be part of that world, man. So
yeah, I mean, it's the same thing when I was even doing music back in the days and all the stuff that we did. I loved it. I loved the music, but I didn't want to go through all the drinking. And if you go out with this guy and this guy goes, hey, let's go out. You just got done doing a show. Sure, have a shot with me. I mean, that's every day you're working.
Yeah.
4 or 5 days out of the week, and you're taking shots after you do. You're gonna blow your liver out. That's why these rock stars never last, because that guy's a dick, dude. He didn't party with me that night because whatever reason. It's like, come on, man. So for me to be on the road and not be in a family, I didn't want to do it. So I chose never to continue. I didn't want to be in that rock star status.
Yeah. No, you can't keep that up, man.
It's too much.
Yeah, it would get old. I think anything you do like that would get old.
Anything that's physically damaging to your body.
Yeah.
Even like in sports, that's certain, like football.
Yeah. No, football's awful, man.
You get hit and hit hard, you will start hurting. I mean, I've seen some pros. I watch football. I love football. I mean, I can't tell you that I don't like watching it. I do, but it is a brutal sport. They're trying to clean it up, the NFL, and at the same time,
no, you can't.
You can't, because there's some guys that they're not robots. They're programmed to hit you.
Yeah, no, that's the whole point, dude. The whole point is to get as big and fast and strong as possible, so you could knock the shit out of the other person and
pretty much
and win the game.
Yeah,
like that's what it was.
Take out the quarterback.
And dude, I loved it. I played.
Yeah.
It's funny. My wife can't believe that I don't like to watch it anymore. I just don't watch it.
Well, you never liked to watch the UFC. Very little do you like to watch it.
I don't watch a lot of sports. I don't watch a lot of TV anyhow, but I just don't have any desire.
Yeah.
But yeah, super dangerous. I don't want my kid playing it.
Yeah.
Hopefully he won't, because you're gonna get your bell rung.
Oh yeah. So yeah.
Else.
So the book's almost done.
So yeah, the book's almost done. That's my next thing I'm working on. So I'm working on that. Every once in a while, I'll be working on the fantasy book with Livy, but that's a small thing.
Yeah,
It's like
how's that
whenever
going?
she wants, we have a lot of it developed, but I have a lot of questions for her. So but we're gonna start working on that one. So just every once in a while, we'll develop characters. My plate is definitely full right now,
Yeah.
so I was like, we can just. It's easy for me to pop in there. We can just develop characters and fun stuff like that. And I was drawing creatures, and so she's telling me like what parts of the creature she likes, and so we're starting to develop the different things like that. So it might be a while, but all the time while we're doing that, we're still figuring out this world too. So,
Yeah.
and until maybe it won't happen until my back tattoo starts out.
When
I don't
are you
know,
gonna
man.
start doing that?
I don't know. I gotta hit them up.
Right now is when you start. You should be getting it tatted right now.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's starting to. It's gonna get colder, and you just put on this stuff. Stay in the house.
Yeah.
You're warm. The kids are usually inside. It's very rare that you go out to the sun.
yeah.
If you do, you just put on a shirt.
No, I think
Just
I
go through
want
it.
to start. So hopefully, hopefully this will be the month.
Like go get tatted on a Thursday. That way, Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Oh, that's smart.
you're just laying on your stomach for the most part. You don't want to lay on your back because you don't want to stick to your sheets.
Yeah.
And put a sheet down. Do you sleep on your stomach or your back?
I'm not telling that.
Come on. Do you,
Leave it to your imagination.
do you sleep downward dog?
I'm I'm probably all over the place. I think I usually end up on my side. Yeah, because I couldn't even sleep on my side the last week and a half because my ribs were out of place. It had been hurting really bad. I did it in rolling, I guess, and then but I didn't go to the chiropractor until yesterday, and now it feels way better. So it was it was a gentle adjustment, but it fixed it. My whole rib cage had been off.
Dang, I have to do this. I have to get to a chiropractor.
Oh yeah, man, definitely. Oh, dude, my brother just had one of the craziest stories he's had as a chiropractor. Like, dude, he does amazing stuff. So we're talking about Dr. Steve Tullius. He's down in San Diego. I encourage everyone to check him out. Check out his website because
What's his website?
what he I don't know. Google. Oh, sorry, Steve, but just Google Dr. Steve Tullius, Tullius. But what he's been doing for all these kids, man, is incredible. Kids that have epilepsy, and he's getting rid of their seizures. They're no longer having them. Yeah,
Wow.
what he's helped me understand about chiropractic is awesome. But when you see that what these parents are experiencing, hold on, I want to just share this because this is worth sharing. This is the kind of stuff he does. And we are cut. Okay, so this is maybe you know someone that is dealing with this. Maybe you know someone's kid that is like this. So this is my brother's post. Just witnessed one of the most profound cases since becoming a chiropractor 14 years ago. A mom and dad brought their 3-year-old wheelchair-bound, non-verbal child who had been placed in hospice care because no one has another solution. She has been having grand mal seizures since the day she was born, starting just moments after her vacuum-assisted delivery. Her head was stuck in extreme rotation and lateral flexion to the right. Her arms and legs were in a state of extreme tension and extension of her toes and fingers. She had no voluntary movement of her head, neck, abdomen, or extremities. Her eyes were stuck off to the left, and she was grinding her teeth constantly. Her neurological scans were off the charts. Fill in her neck revealed a severe misalignment of C1. As I attempted to move her neck to the right, she let out the most desperate cry of agony, and it felt as if her life was literally be damned and blocked from reaching her body. I applied a gentle adjustment of her neck within her body's limits and instructed the mother to return in 2 days. Each day we have seen continued improvement. 6 weeks later, and the changes to the tone of her body, the ability to turn her neck to the right, the ability to now use her eyes to focus on people and her environment, to smile, to now move her hands and toes, to stretch her back, to no longer grind her teeth, and to be down to only 1 seizure a week versus once a day is truly incredible. You can feel the life being restored to her tissues. Chiropractor has so much to offer to this world. For this child and her family, we don't know what those limits will be, but we do know their quality of life will be vastly improved because of what chiropractic can give to them. So man, I tell everyone, my friend's wife the other day. So awesome work, Steve.
That's crazy.
But
That's
yeah,
a true story.
Oh yeah. No, he just did that, and he has success stories like that all the time. Like, so if you go check him out,
Wow.
you'll hear the parents talking like with so much gratitude because like my kid was having there were kids that had several seizures a day. Now they don't have any. So it's just, man, you get the energy's flowing, and if you have a subluxation in there, it's not going to be flowing. You're not going to be at 100%. And if that misalignment starts early on and you're messed up as a kid, then you're going to keep growing that way, in that direction, in this messed up direction. So it's going to just, but you can recover from it too. So that's what people need to understand. So yeah, especially what he's doing with kids is awesome. I mean, I love getting adjusted by him too. So we will be doing the podcast. Anthony and I will be training. We'll be teaching Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll make sure
So
to
you're
do it
calling
there.
bluff then?
Well, as long as I want to keep doing it, and I feel
Why wouldn't you want to though?
Yeah.
Do you think
Well,
it just takes too much time away from you?
Sometimes it does, but this was cool because you stopped by. I was like, I'm gonna have to talk to this motherfucker anyways.
And I said
I
the
might as
same
well
thing.
record
This
it. Yeah,
fucking
like
cocksucker.
it's like I'm gonna have to have the same. I'm gonna have to have the same goddamn conversation, but I can just capture it and then I can just throw it up with a story and maybe people will listen.
And if they don't,
And then they don't, and then I'm like, fuck, why'd I even waste that time? I should have totally do it. I'm at home.
I wasted an hour of my
Stupid.
life.
Yeah, I should just tell him. I should just tell him I'm canceling it. Oh
Should've,
wait.
I wouldn't have,
Oh,
saved you a
damn.
trip.
Yeah.
Oh, this is still on?
Oh yeah. No, we're going.
This
So-
is still on.
So now we're back to the start of the podcast. So maybe I've changed my mind back. Maybe this is the last episode. Or, yeah, I just talked myself back into it. And I'm busy, dude. I gotta go.
Holy
So
shit.
peace.
That's funny,
that
dude.
would be classic. Just
It
like
could be.
if that's the last time I ever talked in public. If
Just
that was-
drop the mic.
yeah,
I'm done.
that's the last public recording I ever did.
That's funny, dude. That's funny.
Yeah. Oh, you want to hear something sad?
Hey,
So
oh yeah.
Jake is talking about his grandma's parents live in the sky, or they live in, because he told me this like a week or two ago. So he was like, yeah, grandma said her parents live in the sky, that they have a house in the sky. And so he kept thinking about it. He's like, that must mean that they have grass in the sky too. They have a house.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, maybe.
Little creative mind.
But it's just weird him trying to deal with it. But he's
Why? Who passed?
no one passed away, but they must have had a talk about it or something.
Oh, I see. He's
and so he
figuring
was talking a little bit more about it last night, and about her parents are up in the air, and something about seeing them again. He can't
Oh.
wait. You know, that grandma was sad about it too, and wants to see them again, or and then he asked me about when they come back. I was like, well.
Ooh.
So
That's
we had
crazy.
that conversation. So, and he
So
tells
what'd
me,
you
he's
say?
like, Daddy, he's like, I don't want to be died and not come back. I would miss you. And I was like, he's like, I would be so sad.
Oh, that's so
I was like,
cute.
man, you don't have to be worrying about this right now.
That's crazy.
I was like, just remember, man, you could die on the way to school today.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. I did not tell him that.
You know that yellow Twinkie that goes on the street? It could
Yeah.
run you over.
Yeah. No, that's a good lesson I learned. But yeah, do you want to be smashed? Do you want to be died? No, you don't want to be died. You just told me you don't want to be
I don't
died.
wanna be died.
So stop running down the stairs. No, dude,
That's funny.
that's one of my big problems.
That scares the shit
Dude,
out of me.
my
Who does that?
and I get that from my mother, who gets that from her mother. But the constant worrying, I see bad shit happening all the time in my head. Like that happens all the time. I always see something's gonna happen bad, and then with my kids, like I have to turn that off. Otherwise, I'm always I'm
Paranoid.
saying, hey, watch for that,
Yeah,
watch
being a
that. You're gonna
helicopter
hit this.
parent.
Yeah, so I don't want to do that. I try not to do that, but I realize I do it.
You
So-
do it because you know it might hurt them. You just do
Oh
it
yeah,
for the
yeah.
safety.
Well, because I was like, oh shit, they can get killed doing that. Like, there's a good chance.
There's a-
There's
yeah.
chances of getting killed or paralyzed.
yeah,
are,
there's a good
are
time
way
to step
higher
in.
because they're doing this.
Yeah.
So
There's some time to step in. Sometimes you don't have to. But when you see it, like, and you could predict it, no. Because I do the same. I always second guess myself. I'm like, I'm my worst critic. You got to
Uh-huh.
be the same for yourself. And when
Yeah.
it comes to that judgment time, you're like, It's like split decision, or pull
wait,
out.
was it 3 us or just 2?
I think it was 3.
3. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure, because I get that same feeling, but sometimes like only like 2.
So, yeah.
It's like
I guess so.
So what else? I think that's it, man. What else is up? So
Nothing
maybe
else.
we'll do another one. So I want to share all of T's versions. So yeah.
Might as well at least finish those off and then
Yeah.
go on. I I want to take the class. I'm gonna see what I can do, but I have to get my girl adjusted first. She needs to get adjusted.
Yeah.
She's out of line. She's got backup. We're doing that thing that I told you about with the our feet cleansing
Oh, right.
next Thursday. But you actually have to set up an appointment. But it doesn't just take. It takes 30 minutes for your feet. They detox everything out of your body. They do some other stuff. I'm not too familiarized with anything about it yet, but I do know that it's going to be a good amount of time to spend.
Yeah.
But it's all for your body, dude.
Let me
I
know.
want to do that float tank too.
Let me know if that helps. Yeah, I'm always down to try new stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyways,
Anywho, man, I think we already went over our limit. Otherwise, I'm gonna go back to fuck it. This is the last one. So yeah,
dude.
earlier I was saying the artist, but I don't know if that's the one I want. Dun 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 dun. What kind of do you want? What do you want? You want spooky? You want scary?
Yeah, do that spooky. Still
Or
live.
you want like a crime one?
Actually, yeah, do the crime one. Do the crime one. Yeah, do
We'll
that
do. We might have done it before, but we'll do To Catch a Killer. There's a prostitute in it. Lots of prostitutes. Some of them get cut up. Some of them get cut up into pieces.
Is that why you write whores?
Yeah, it's a horror story. No, that's not it. But yeah, so we'll go with To Catch a Killer, narrated by T. Quillen. Hopefully you guys dig it. If you want the whole thing, you can pick it up on Audible. All right, peace.
You guys be good. Love you.
I don't even know these people. How am I gonna say I love them? I don't even tell my own kids I love them. No.
Stay
right,
beautiful, California.
Yeah, we'll say much love. All right.
There you go. Much
can say
love.
that. All right. I'll stick with peace.
To Catch a Killer. Tina hitched up her skirt and smiled at the slowing Cadillac. The driver pulled to the trash-strewn curb and lowered the tinted passenger window. With her long legs, generous breasts, and red hair falling to her tiny waist, Tina looked more like a model than a prostitute. But just so there were no questions, her thigh-high boots, black miniskirt, and clearly visible pink panties told the driver he'd come to the right place. Still not used to prancing around in stilettos, Tina took her time and strolled to the Cadillac, aware the driver was watching every twitch of her hips. She pushed up her breasts and stuck her head through the window, hoped this was the guy she'd been searching for, but doubted she'd be so lucky. She didn't need to look at the well-dressed fat man to know this wasn't her guy. Even with his overpowering cologne, Tina could smell the stench of sickness. It couldn't be masked by the caddy's rich leather. This guy was alone and diseased, but he was no killer. "Hi there, pretty lady." Sweat dripped off his chin and spotted his white button-down. "Care to join me?" "Maybe you should try the girls over on 17th. "None of them look like you," he said. "Come on, we'll have fun." He spit something in his palm. Tina stepped back as cars drove by. Any one of them could be the guy she was waiting for. "I'm sure we would, but I gotta run." He rolled up his sleeve and revealed the gold Cartier sunk into his fleshy wrist. "I can pay a lot. You don't want to regret this." "Look, asshole," Tina said, "I'm a cop. So if you don't want to end up behind bars, you better haul ass home." The Cadillac sped off. Tina walked back to her corner and sat on the bus bench. Her feet were killing her, and she dreaded where this was heading. Every night he didn't show was another night she had to walk the damp and dreary streets. Another night she had to pretend she was one of the downtrodden, willing to sell herself for a few measly bucks. Another night she was here. 3 months she'd been on this detail. She'd begged for the case, but not a day went by she didn't regret it. She'd looked too long into one of the girl's eyes at the morgue. She got attached. Her sergeant had told her it was a dead end, but she'd convinced herself she could track it. Chloe, Promise, Shelley, and a handful of other girls walked the opposite side of the street, knowing they didn't stand a chance of getting picked up next to her. The girls were the real reason Tina wanted to catch the killer. That's what she told herself. That it wasn't all a fucking waste. She used to think of these girls as trash. But as she spent more time with them, she began to realize they were no worse than she was. Everyone was just looking for some fix to feel less shitty. Fate had dealt each of these girls a hand they never had a chance of winning. They were destined to be whores, no matter how hard they tried to prevent it. The girls had been raped and molested by parents, uncles, coaches, and teachers. They'd been beaten and abused, made to believe they were completely worthless. The strong ones moved out at an early age to get away from that ugliness, only to quickly learn that the real world was even worse. Strip to make money, do drugs to deal with reality, whore to buy the drugs. Or pay your dues on the force to prove you deserve to be a detective so you can hunt down the type of men who slip pills in your drink, rip your panties, and leave you outside your dorm in the bushes. A vicious cycle that never seemed to end. This was Tina's 45th night on this 10-block strip of hell, and she still had not caught a glimpse of the guy. Even though the police were monitoring every strip club, whorehouse, and corner, the maniac continued to strike. Every morning, a different girl, or at least parts of her, showed up. The killer was confident, and with good reason. Over 50 mutilated girls, and the department wasn't even remotely close to busting him. It was almost as if someone on the inside was telling him exactly where Tina was going to be. The police had a sketch given by two pros who'd seen the fifth victim, Dominique, get inside a station wagon. Another girl saw victim number 12 climb into a limo. But that was all the police had to go on. Tina had no idea what kind of vehicle to look for because the killer always used a different car. He was blatantly daring the department, handing them his DNA in the semen-stained underwear he always left behind, always wrapped around the girl's throat. He thought the police couldn't catch him, but Tina would prove him wrong. At least that's what she still told the sergeant. A small blue Toyota pickup stopped on the other side of Colton Street. Tina's heart rate quickened when she saw Shelley slip into the passenger side. Before the couple closed the deal, Tina crossed the street, prayed that John didn't pull something out of his pants that Shelley couldn't handle. She was relieved to see the driver was a pimply teenager, his frustrated virginity stamped on his forehead. Tina continued across the street and asked Chloe if she was interested in grabbing them some food. She had just handed Chloe a 20 when a black van rolled through the intersection and pulled to the curb a little way down 21st. The van was a good 30 feet away from Tina when the van lowered his window for a young black girl. Tina couldn't remember her name. A strong breeze blew past and told Tina to hurry. Under her breath, speaking into the mic hidden between her breasts, Tina said, "I think this is our guy. Charlie, are you seeing this?" There was no answer in her earpiece. Tina quickened her pace and called out, "Hey there, honey, you got the wrong car." The girl pulled her head out of the window and glared at Tina. "Get your own date, this one's mine." Tina didn't slow. Although the girl was taller and much thicker, Tina wasn't about to let that girl get in that vehicle. "Let him decide." "Screw you, get back on your side of the street." "I go where I want." Tina bumped the girl out of the way, tried not to choke on her rotten peach perfume. She peered into the van and saw a disheveled guy with a cheap comb-over. Nothing like the sketch, but Tina could tell from the smell this was her guy. Forcing what she hoped was a winning smile, she said, "How about it, sugar? Who's the lucky lady going to be? Me or Midnight?" "Fuck you, bitch!" said the black girl. I'm just trying to let the man decide. Who's it going to be? He looked right at Tina and said, Who do you think? Tina whipped open the door and slid inside before the girl knew what had happened. She ignored the ripe scent of death and put her hand on the guy's grimy jeans, rubbed his thigh. I've got a spot around the corner. He pulled away from the curb. His breath reeked of alcohol when he said, No, I need to keep driving. The thought of the 9mm inside her purse kept her calm. It's your dollar. She turned around in her seat and looked into the back of the van. Black trash bags were taped over the windows, and a black tarp covered a lumpy form on the van's floor. This had to be him, but nothing about the case said he was a drinker. The killer was too methodical to allow alcohol to blur his judgment. What the hell do you think you're doing? He shouted as Tina crawled into the back. Looking for a place where I can make you happy. You want to pull over here? Or there's a spot right after Orange. Are you deaf? I said we're going to keep driving. I heard, Tina said. I'm just not sure if I'm cool with that. I need to see your money first. I've got money, and you've got a mouth. Afraid her tail might lose her, she told the guy. Don't turn right on Pine. Why don't we just keep driving straight down 21st? Without slowing, he looked at her. What did you say? Tina fingered the clasp on her purse. I just thought it'd be nicer if we headed toward the hills. This ain't a date. Earn your money. He reached back, grabbed the back of her head, and slammed her face onto his lap, her nose just inches from his crotch. Tina tried to pull up, but he was strong. The smell was overpowering. She couldn't do what he asked, but her gun was out of reach, tucked in her purse in the back. What's wrong? He brought his free hand down to his zipper. Need me to help? Before he could pull it down, Tina grabbed his wrist with her left hand and used her right hand to slam down the brake pedal. The van jerked right, scraped off another car, then stopped. The driver's chest slammed into the top of the steering wheel as Tina's head bounced off the top of it. He ripped her up by the neck. Crazy bitch, what's your problem? Tina reached behind her and blindly groped for her purse, but he pulled her forward before she found it. With his face just inches from hers, he yelled, Answer me, bitch! Trying to sound as if she were in control, Tina said, I'm a cop. Let go of my neck and place both hands on the steering wheel. The driver smashed his forehead onto the bridge of her nose. Bright lights exploded in front of Tina, and a river of blood rushed down her throat. Tina fell back, slouched against the passenger door, barely aware that the driver was out of the van and running around to her side of the vehicle. She tried to turn around and lock the door, but she was too slow. I should have known it was too good to be true, the driver said. He wrenched open the door, and Tina nearly fell out of the van, but she managed to grab hold of the glove box. The driver sank his fingers into her shoulder and yanked on her collarbone, sent her crashing onto the concrete. As her head hit the ground, her vision went blank, and the wig flew off. Unable to see, she waited for the fatal blow. But instead, she heard the squeal of brakes. A car door opened and slammed shut. Feet slapped the concrete. The driver of the van said something in protest a split second before Tina heard the bone-jarring impact and felt the men fly past her and crash down on the sidewalk a few feet away. Tina flopped onto her stomach to stop the blood from rushing down her throat. Still dizzy, she pushed up to her knees and opened her eyes. She didn't recognize the clean-cut man who was mounted on the killer's chest, pummeling his face. The guy wasn't a cop. At least not from the south side. Wanting to help, but not yet trusting her balance, Tina slumped against the side of the van. Her hero had everything under control, picking apart her attacker, rifling punches between the man's upraised hands. The cop in her wanted to tell the guy to stop, but then she reminded herself what the creep had done to all those girls, and probably would have done to her if this guy had kept on driving. Her rescuer sat back on the guy's chest to catch his breath. Sweat dripped from his forehead, blood from his knuckles. Rage shined in his gray eyes as he stared into the driver's destroyed face. Speaking through a mouthful of blood, the driver asked, "What are you doing? Please." The Samaritan raised his elbow and brought it down with blinding speed, smashing the killer's cheek, shattering the bone. He brought his elbow up again and slammed the tip into the man's forehead, once, twice, 3 times. Tina finally found her voice. "Stop." Almost as if a switch had been flicked, her hero transformed. He looked at Tina with gentle eyes and said, "Thank God you're all right. I thought he was going to kill you." The man got up and wiped his bloody hands onto his jeans. He walked over and asked, "Can I get you anything? Can I call someone for you?" Blood trickled into her mouth. "I'm okay." The man squatted down and pulled a handkerchief from his back pocket. He smiled and offered it to her. "I'm not calling you a liar, but you don't look okay." Her inability to accept help from others was something Tina had wanted to change for a long time. She took the handkerchief and pressed it to the corner of her mouth. The man glanced over his shoulder at the unconscious driver and then back at Tina. "I'm sorry you had to see that. I'm not usually like that." "Well, I'm glad you were tonight." He was clearly embarrassed when he asked her if she knew the man. Tina blushed and told him no. "I'm not judging." He offered his hand. "Here, let's see if you can get up." Still a little dizzy, Tina took his hand and stood. She leaned against him while she regained her balance. With one hand pinching her nose closed and the other holding his wrist for support, Tina looked up at him. "I'm really not a hooker." "I can see that. Come on. You can have a seat in my car. I'll call the cops and make sure this guy doesn't leave until they get here." They're already on the way." Tina walked with him toward the idling silver Civic. She smiled at the "Powered by Jesus" decal taking up the entire back windshield. He opened the door and helped her inside. "You sure? Maybe nobody called them." Tina leaned back in the seat and told him she was an undercover cop. "My backup should have already been here." She looked down and shouted at the mic between her breasts. "Hear that, you jerk-offs? The suspect is at the corner of Pine and 21st. He's the bloody lump lying on the concrete." "So, you aren't really a hooker?" "That's too bad." She saw he was playing with her. "Very funny." He said his name was Gabe and shook her hand. "If you want, I can take you to the hospital." "How about a bar? I could use a beer," she joked. "I'm not much of a drinker, but I'd love to." He pointed toward the van. "Have you got anything in there, or do you want to just go?" She started to get out of the car. "No, I'm kidding. I need to wait." He put his hand on her shoulder. "You should sit." Tina closed her eyes and relaxed. Noticed for the first time in years, she wasn't able to smell anything. She took the bloody handkerchief from her nose and discovered the pressure had stopped the flow. Her nose was sore to the touch and clogged with blood. She tucked the handkerchief inside her shirt in case it started bleeding again. The loss of her sense of smell scared her, but before she panicked, she assured herself that this was just temporary. She opened her eyes and looked out the windshield at the van. The smell from its interior had tipped her off. But she had been suspicious about the vehicle anyway. One look at the driver had told her all she needed to know. "How long do you think it'll take your partners to get here?" He pointed at the guy on the ground. "Maybe you should cuff him?" Tina looked into the side mirror and saw a white truck coming up behind them. They were blocking the road. Gabe pulled his car forward, but the truck still couldn't get around. He took a left, then a right. When she looked out the window, Tina realized she had no idea where they were. Her job had never taken her to this part of the city. Gabe pointed down the dimly lit road. "We're pretty close to my place. There's a bar just a few blocks away." "Yeah, okay," she laughed. Her head felt light. He started to say something else, but stopped himself and threw on the blinker. The car coasted to a stop on the side of a deserted street. "What are you doing?" she asked. "I think it's the transmission. Always something with this heap. I've been meaning to trade it in." He turned off the car and got out. As he popped the hood, Tina turned, tried to figure out where they'd come from. "I'll just be a minute," Gabe called out. When Gabe came back, he said, "I'm afraid I had to call AAA. This is so embarrassing." It's fine. I need to get back, though." Gabe asked her if she was okay. "The way you're holding your neck doesn't look good." The entire side of her neck burned. But Tina said, "Just tight. I'm sure I'll feel wonderful tomorrow." Her vision was blurring. "Why don't you turn toward the door and lean back a bit? Let me work on it." "Oh no, I'm fine." "It's going to be at least 20 minutes. His fingers were cool, applied just the right pressure. "And I swear I won't strangle you." Tina barely felt his hands on her shoulders. "I really need to go. There's a report I need." Tina trailed off as her tongue ran over the roof of her mouth. It felt numb. "That was the first time I saved a cop. I think you should be giving me a massage." Gabe began working her upper back. "You've got a ton of knots." My job's a little stressful." Tina started to reach for the door handle, but her fingers missed the latch and fumbled down the door. Gabe asked about her job, his fingers gliding down her spine, settling on her low back. She knew she needed to get out, but it felt so good. Gabe finding every sore spot, soothing them away. He said, "I have a bit of a confession to make." Tina opened her eyes, realized she'd nearly fallen asleep. "I recognized you back there," he said. "I wasn't sure if it was you until you said you were a cop." Why didn't you say so?" He smiled. "I didn't want you thinking I was some kind of sick celebrity stalker. I read that article on you. The Nose That Knows. Pretty catchy. So is it true? Can you really smell a crook a mile away?" "No." She yawned. Some of the guys on the force had fed the reporter that line. She did have an extraordinary sense of smell, but it hardly helped in cases. "How about out here? No one's around for miles. Can you still smell that guy?" Tina inhaled. "Nothing. Can't smell a thing. That's good. I was hoping you wouldn't smell the dead guy I stuffed in the trunk. Tina laughed. I assumed that was you. Sort of a mixture between Old Spice and Brute. She felt drunk. No, only unscented roll-ons for me. And don't get me started on colognes. Even the lightest fragrance makes me nauseous. Tina shook her head to try to clear it. Okay, well, we need to get back. My car's broken. Don't you remember? Tina sort of remembered something about the AAA, but that seemed like a week ago. She asked if he was teasing her about his ability. He studied her with probing eyes. Your smell is pure and sweet. It's funny how a person's scent can reveal so much about them. His thumbs rolled up and down her low back, his fingers down the outside of her hips. I can smell that you're aroused by me. Tina didn't know how to respond. She wasn't sure if she should be angered by his crudeness or impressed by his accuracy. His hands traveled up to her neck. I gave that guy the van and $500 to spend on the red-haired hooker on 21st and Colton. Tina jerked out of his grasp, but he pinned her against the window, his hand around her throat. Tina tried to fight, but he was too strong. Sparks fired off in her mind. She reached for her purse, only to realize she'd left her purse in the van. I'll pull away, Tina, but as soon as I do, I would recommend you get out of this car and run for your life, just to prove to you how good my sense of smell is. I'll give you a minute head start. Unnerved by his calmness, her voice shook when she said, I'll kill you. Go ahead. You really think you can get back to your gun? Tina wondered how he knew she wasn't carrying her 9mm, but her thoughts were fleeting and jagged, everything foggy and removed. Gabe made her decision easier by reaching into his pocket and pulling out a 6-inch switchblade. You've got 1 minute, bitch. Let's make this fun. Tina hated turning her back on the knife, but she threw open the door and staggered out, shook her head, and ran like hell. She wanted to turn and fight him, but images of the mutilated women propelled her feet. Tina was near the end of the alley when she heard a bloodthirsty howl. He had her scent. Tina tried to flick on her mic, but the wires were gone. He must have slipped it out of her shirt during the massage. How could she have been so dumb? His howl grew louder. She zigzagged through the dark and deserted sidewalks, hoping to throw him off. Tina turned left at the next abandoned building. Halfway down the alley, she realized it was a dead end. Tina kept running, hoped she'd be able to scale the 8-foot fence at the end, but when she reached the wooden boards, they appeared wavy and a mile high. Whatever he'd soaked the handkerchief with was now causing hallucinations. She glanced behind her and tripped. Gabe hadn't reached her yet. She picked up the large brick she'd tripped on, hid behind the trash bin. The weight of the brick seemed to be increasing. She could barely keep it in her grip. Gabe howled again. I smell you, Tina. Why'd you stop running? He sounded close, just around the corner. I love it when you run. Tina leapt back behind the dumpster, just as Gabe's silhouette appeared at the end of the alley. She reached up and slipped the blood-soaked handkerchief in the trash. She leaned back against the stucco wall, blinked a few times, listened to his footsteps. Her other hand tightened around the brick. Where are you, sweetheart? Gabe slowed, his breaths labored. I have something to show you. Tina remained curled up behind the trash bin. She listened to Gabe shuffling the soles of his shoes along the concrete. He was taking his time, enjoying this. Gabe stopped next to the bin and sighed. Oh, Tina, I thought you'd be a challenge. You really didn't think hiding near trash would mask the smell of your blood, now did you? Gabe threw open the bin's lid. Metal scraped the inside of the container as Gabe blindly lashed out. You bitch, he screamed. I'm going to tear your head off. Tina leaped up and saw the surprise in Gabe's eyes. He brought his hands up, the knife in one hand, the bloodied handkerchief in the other. He was too slow to block Tina's swing, and the brick connected with a sickening thud against his skull. Gabe slumped next to the bin. Tina brought the brick down one more time, stopping the rise and fall of the chest of one of the most ruthless killers Southside had ever seen. But Tina knew she would still smell everything. Every homicidal maniac still lurking, every girl falling under the weight of a knife, every child left abandoned in the living room next to her lifeless mother. She smelled it all, and it would never end.